Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited that I have another opportunity to share with you the wonderful work and research that our wonderful team A has done in terms of this class. And we're delighted to be able to share with you our ideas, our research on the similarities and differences between community-based education in the United States. And we're comparing and contrasting with two other countries, Canada and Australia. My name is Christopher Rooks, and I will be presenting the information that has been gathered by the wonderful team A, starting with Annette, Cayla, Beth, and Cathryn, also known as Kathy. And we're just delighted to have the opportunity to share our findings with you regarding the similarities and differences between community-based education in the United States, in Canada, and Australia. Let's start with Canada. Canada is known for being one of the best countries in the world at providing valuable resources to their citizens. Canadian citizens are granted the fundamental human right to education through their constitution. This right includes a diverse definition of literacy, which is important. The implementation of multiliteracy approach would ensure that adults can better themselves through government funding by grants to include technology, family literacy, and workplace literacy, as well as basic literacy education. These additions to traditional education are creating a stronger society by strengthening career efficiency and family propensity for learning. My community has a high dropout rate. This is according to Miss Beth, and her community has a high dropout rate. And she would love to provide education for a family literacy program to ensure that parents will be good role models and encourage lifelong learning. As a father of a 13-year-old, I can definitely agree with such an assertion. Now, moving on to the United States regarding adult education, the United States can beneficially replicate some of the models of statutory. By utilizing the Canadian multiliteracy approach to education, all Americans can take advantage of the many grant programs that are available here in the United States. Eliminating this barrier can make it more attractive for people to go back to school. Also, if grant programs are expanded to include, like we said in Canada's summary, technology, family literacy, workplace literacy, and basic education literacy, this makes a wider variety of educational opportunities available. Lastly, United States citizens will begin to be able to land jobs and pay wages that will allow them to be self-sustaining. Unfortunately, when comparing the community-based programs in Canada and the United States, the most glaring difference is that our investment in our educational programs is subpar. Subsequently, our economy is not thriving to its fullest potential and capacity. Shifting allocating funds to more community-based programs will, in the long run, help boost our economy. Family relationships will also strengthen because they will not have the need and the added financial worries that come along with not having been educated adequately. The way Annette is choosing and suggesting that we would use this information as she is continuing to work in her future as a community-based educator is to be an advocate for changing the distribution of funding to our citizens. She will also make sure that she would keep herself informed about each and every rule and regulation that pertains to the financing for community-based and lifelong education. Positive approaches to Australia's learning model that the US can benefit from. Australian learning techniques focus on informal and non-informal techniques. Informal learning is based on participating in the local community. Non-informal is a person learning through taking classes in the local community. Most of the learning in the U.S. is done formally. Informal and non-informal learning are opposite of formal learning. For example, informal and non-informal learning takes place outside of the classroom, such as in a community organization. The U.S. can learn from Australia's learning approach of informal and non-informal learning techniques. Cayla suggests that as she's growing into her future as a community-based educator, she could use this information as a comparison for her ability to move forward when she is conducting classroom activities, and she will conduct them in different settings. For example, her class projects will be taken somewhere out in the open, out away from the classroom versus sitting in the traditional educational setting. Kathy has done some incredible research regarding community-based learning as well. There is some research that suggests informal education could benefit many students. This would take learning beyond the classroom and allow exploration through participation. Informal education would allow educators to get to know their students and involve parents and members of the community into the formal education process. Educators and students could share their interests and help students with social skills, which is very key. Students would be able to make self-assessments and learn directly from their experiences. It would also allow educators to reflect and analyze for future practice with one another. Students would feel that their contributions matter and that they would have some control over the pace and content of their learning. It would allow students to learn new things, take risks, and gain more experience. This would be a big change to the educational system, but with the right training for educators and policies in place, it could be very successful. In a community-based organization, Cathy, is suggesting that the informal learning style would benefit the many. She believes that she would be able to get to know the students and share her interests with them. In a formal educational style, it would be harder to do this because there are many rules that need to be followed. Too much structure in the traditional U.S. Educational system. Informal education would also allow her or all of us to get feedback from students and allow them to be more involved with decisions about their education. Self-efficacy. Right? Taking accountability for their own education, advocating for themselves. I like that, Cathy. Thank you. This is not the case with formal education because there is a set curriculum and standards that must be followed. I feel that informal education will give our students and us as educators control over our education process. This has been one of the greatest and most rewarding experiences, and I'm so excited that I have had the opportunity for the last 6 weeks to work with each of our Team A members, Annette, Cathy, Beth, and Cayla, and we're looking forward to continuing our learning process and journey in the very near future. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Bye-bye.